So you want to study in Austria, but your program is offered in the German language. So you need the German C1 level in order to gain admission in the university. I know it sounds difficult, but today I'm going to tell you why the German language is important, what exams you need to take, and how to prepare effectively even if you are starting for the first time. Welcome to my channel. This is Life in Austria with Ifoma. I am an international student from Nigeria, currently studying computer science at the Technical University of Vienna, Austria, and I recently passed my C1 German exam in order to gain full admission into the university, the Technical University of Vienna. And this is one of the reasons why I believe you should listen to me when I tell you this. Getting the C1 German certificate is possible. So if you are planning to study in Austria, be it your bachelor's, master's, or even an exchange program, then this video is for you. So why does German language matter? Austria is a German-speaking country. Their lingua franca is German, and for this reason, most of everything you are going to be doing in the country is going to be done in German. Office, your immigration documents, every single thing is in the German language. So usually when foreigners ask them like, can you speak in English, they usually explain in English, but naturally everyone tends to speak German without asking you whether you understand it or not. So if you want to get through your daily life without stress, without overthinking, the signs on the road, everything is basically written in the German language, then it's a good idea for you to learn how to speak and understand German before coming into the country as a student. So then, also for your career, jobs and careers, it is always a plus when you also know how to speak the German language. Sometimes the ICT sector doesn't really demand that because codes are not written in German, but still, because of the work culture, work environment, being able to understand the customer and the client's needs is also still required that you understand the German language at least to some level. Then it's also very important if you want to study, especially as a student. It is very important to understand the German language. Most of the degree programs here are taught in German, meaning the professors teach you in the German language when you are in class. So if you don't understand the German language, you are not going to understand anything during the lectures. And there are also some degree programs offered in English, but there aren't very much of them. So that's where the problem comes in, especially if you're coming for your bachelor's program. On the other hand, there are also opportunities for those who don't want to go through this first studium program. If you're someone who wants to get the C1 level before you apply for your admission into a university, then you can go through any of the officially recognized German language schools, write the C1 exam through them, and then use the C1 certificates to apply for your admission. For example, we have the Goethe Institute, we have the OSD, which is an Austrian language institution, we have the TELC, and so on and so forth. We also have TestDaF. So these institutions are recognized fully by universities in Austria, and if you obtain your C1 German level from them, writing the exam and passing the exam, and you obtain the certificates from these listed institutions, then you will be granted an admission without having to go through this first studium that I spoke about. Moving on to studying and understanding German, at least to the A2 level before applying for admission. Now we have different apps that aid in German learning. I'm going to list those I'm very sure of, those I used, and they also help me in my own journey. So I'm going to recommend these apps. Number one, we have Duolingo, Babel, Lingo AI. These are the three apps I could recommend. And also I recommend watching a lot of YouTube channels. There are different YouTube channels that help in the learning of German. We have Easy German, we have Deutsche Welle. So these channels can help you as you progress through learning the language at least to the A2 level. I would advise anyone who wants to learn the language, especially if you're someone living in another country, you're living in a non-German speaking country. It can be very difficult because you don't have Germans or people who are also learning German to speak with you. That's why I would always recommend that you learn through a very structured step. It's good to learn self-study and learn German, but it can be quite difficult, especially if you don't have a structure. In my case, I paid for several courses with Goethe Institute. So in Nigeria. I'm going to use Nigeria as a case study because I'm from Nigeria and I was in Nigeria while learning German for the first time. I paid for several courses through Goethe Institute Lagos. They have their building in Lagos, but they also offer online courses for people who don't reside in Lagos and can't afford to move to Lagos in order to take these German courses. So I took the online courses A1, A2, B1 with Goethe Institute. And what I would advise is that whenever you're taking such courses, if you pay for such a course with Goethe Institute, you should take it seriously and always try to contribute during the classes. Other people might see you as busybody in quotes, but basically is you trying to get value for your money, because that's the best you would get. You live in a country where people don't speak German. The only opportunity you have to speak German and to utilize your time speaking German, you should always take it. That's what I would advise. So for the time it takes to learn German, A1 basically takes approximately 4 months to learn, especially if you have other responsibilities, you're a student or you're working full time. It will take at least 4 months for you to grasp everything. But if you're someone who has a lot of time on your hands, you are not a student, you are not working, you have enough time, 2 months is enough to cover A1, because you'll be committing 8 hours, 6 hours a day studying the language and trying to learn and speak. A2 takes about 3 months, but also if you have a lot of time on your hands, you are not working or a student, that means you can also use 2 months to cover A2. B1 usually takes a bit longer because then you begin to deal with more advanced vocabulary, advanced grammar, as well as B2. So, but for A1 and A2, which is the requirement to at least get an admission as a non-degree student, in general, for someone who is seriously putting in effort to learn the language, I would say 5 to 6 months is enough to get to A2. So common struggles people have also while learning German, which I also experienced myself, is number one, the grammar problem. Grammar, articles, die, das. It's always an issue. But in order to overcome this issue, you have to commit time, a lot of time into learning, and also watching a lot of movies in German, podcasts, listening to podcasts in German. This helps you faster. Another problem is the speaking problem. A lot of people can read, they can write German, but when it comes to speaking German, it becomes a problem. This is also an issue I experienced, especially while I was still in Nigeria. When I came into Austria and had to live my daily life with the language, it became easier to me because I was forced into speaking the language. I had no other choice. But for someone who is still living in another country, in a non-German speaking country, you have to force yourself into situations where you speak in order to build your confidence and comfortability around speaking the language. That's why I recommended that whatever class you register for, be it a group class or a private tutor class for the German language, make sure you speak and ask questions. Speak any opportunity you have. Don't wonder, am I right or wrong? Am I building my sentences correctly? Just try to say something so you can get comfortable with speaking and expressing yourself in the German language. I know a lot of people will also ask, what does it cost to learn German generally? So I'm going to speak from the point of view for someone who is coming from Nigeria. In Nigeria, it's going to cost you at least 300,000 naira to learn German from A1 to B1 or from A1 to A2. I think Goethe Institute offers their online courses for approximately 90,000 naira for each course. So you're going to pay 90,000 naira for A1 and also 90,000 naira for A2, which is about 180,000 naira. But I believe it should be about 200,000 naira in general, plus the exam fees. You also have to make a budget for the exam fees. The exam is around 30 to 40,000 naira, or was at least when I wrote the exam. But honestly, you still have to budget around the 100,000 naira for the German exams after you complete your courses, because paying for the courses doesn't mean that the German exam is free. You will also have to pay for the exam when you are ready to write it. Now, for other countries, you just have to look up the websites of whatever language institution you want to learn with and know how much it costs. But here in Austria, in Germany, language courses cost approximately 500 euros. between 500 to 600 euros. That is what most language courses cost per level. So A1, A to B1. B1 alone costs about 600 euros. That's approximately what you have to budget for the language learning. So it's a bit expensive. That's why I would also recommend YouTube channels you can watch for free. At least after the A1 level and you have gotten the basics and foundation of the language, you could try to self-study and see how far you could get. If you want me to create a study plan guide with list of YouTube channels that can help you to self-study, comment German learning guide in the comment section and I would send the study guide to you. So don't forget to like this video if you love the information that I shared, subscribe and put on your notification bell to get notifications whenever I upload a new video. Another thing is, if you want to know the cost of studying in Austria, the cost of relocating to Austria in 2025, I also made a video on that explaining how much it would cost both in euros and in naira to relocate to Austria and start a study in Austria. Thank you so much for watching. See you soon. Bye.